Now gear-wise, there's a lot of options available out there, but considering that this is a beginner fencing video, I'm trying to keep it nice and simple, and I'm concentrating on gear that's highly adaptable and will do a range of jobs on your farm, not just one fence. Now I'm going to start out talking about the end assemblies that I'm going to be using for this project. I'm going to be using stock post end posts, steel, pre-drilled and marked for the correct height. They make installation of the posts super simple, and all you need is a 120 by 120 dolly, and you can get the posts in by hand in a matter of minutes. I'm also going to be using the stock post brace kit. Now the brace kit's available separately because it can also be used with wooden posts. Now I'm using a brace kit that does not have a compressed or deformed end on it. It makes it much stronger because as soon as you deform round steel, you're creating a weak point for the future. For the intermediate posts, I'm going to be using galvanized steel stock posts. These are also pre-marked for the correct height, making it easier to get your fence even. And because I've got a low pH soil, the galvanized post makes a sensible choice for a long wearing fence. I'm going to be using a smaller post driver for the stock posts because this allows me to keep more control over them as I'm ramming them in. For my wire spinner, I'm going to be using a 3-way contractor grade wire spinner. This converts into a trolley, allowing me to run out barbed wire in future projects nice and easily. So I'm looking for a bit of redundancy. There are cheaper wire spinners available, but they're not as flexible in their options. Whenever you're driving in steel posts, you should always consider how you're going to get them out if you make a mistake. And for that, I'm going to be using a double-jawed post lifter, meaning that I won't damage the posts if I make a mistake. There's a lot of options available when it comes to chain strainers. Today I'm using a more budget-minded model, but it does have a hook at the other end, making it very adaptable if I want to use it for stretching prefabricated mesh in the future. Don't forget your safety. Today I'm going to be using safety glasses whenever I'm handling wire, and I'm going to be using earmuffs whenever I'm driving posts. In terms of hand tools, it's pretty simple. You'll need yourself at least an 8-meter tape measure. I find them quite useful. I like to use a magnetic level, because when you're lining up your end posts, you want to get them perfectly straight so that the gate swings properly. You'll need a hammer. As you note, mine's quite rusty. It's been left in the ground once too often. Now that of course brings us to pliers. Now my first and absolute go-to are the Nipex. Get yourself a set. They make cutting wire super easy. You might come across barbed wire from time to time. A set of traditional fencing pliers like these ones here will do the job quite well, because you can use the super wide jaws to take the barbs off, and there's a groove cut into them, so if you cut wire too short you can use them as a twitching tool. You can hold staples in the jaw and use them as a hammer guide if you're no good and keep hitting your fingers. And they've got 3 positions for cutting wire. They've also got a round guide here if you need to pull pins out of posts, things like that. Quite a useful tool. Last but not least is the original multi-tool. The parrot beak pliers have most of the features that your traditional fencing pliers have, as well as a hammer end and a staple remover that you can use up against recalcitrant staples that have been hammered a bit too far into the post. I use these most of the time for staple removal, and you can see that they're a bit bashed around. They are a good investment because they're super cheap, and if you're stuck 9 times out of 10, they'll do you a favour. And of course we mustn't forget, if you're going to be straining up prefabricated mesh like this sheet mesh, get yourself a set of decent strainer boards. I keep coming back to the wedge style design. I know there's a lot of other types of strainer boards on the market and some can get very expensive, but these are simple, the wedges are easy to replace, and they'll do you for years. Make sure you get a set that are at least 4 foot high or 1200. So hopefully this guide's been of use to help you start your fencing journey and spend a little bit more time enjoying the things that you're doing this for, and a little less time struggling over a job that needn't be difficult. If you like this kind of video, don't forget guys, hit the little subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and there's plenty more on timthompson.ag. I'll see you next week. Now I've put together some gear that I think, honey, and of course we mustn't forget, if you're going to be straining up prefabricated mesh, such as sheet mesh, hello, I'm going to start out talking about the end assemblies that I'm using. Now I'm using the stock post end post and the stock